Welcome to Introspection, the podcast about moving from grief to growth. I'm Amy Lindner-Lesser, your host. Introspection started out as a podcast about hospitality, innkeeping, and innkeepers. After about a year, I realized that my life and interests have morphed from hospitality to helping others navigate from grief and loss to growth and living. In this new version of Introspection, I will be talking about my personal experiences with loss, and there are quite a few, what I've learned along the way through my professional training, as well as from my coaching experiences. I'll also be bringing in guests to share interesting ideas. So grab a beverage, find a comfy place, take a deep breath, and listen in. Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Introspection, Grief to Growth. I'm your host, Amy Lindner-Lesser, and today we're diving into something that most of us try really, really hard to avoid, and that's talking about death. Not just the reality of it, but the words we use, the customs we've avoided, the discomfort we carry, and how all of that keeps us from facing something that is, in reality, universal. We all are going to die, and we can't hide that. What I do promise for you today is that this is not going to be a doom and gloom episode. It might be a little triggering because I'm going to ask you to think, but it's more of an invitation to get curious, to get real, and maybe even a little bit more comfortable with the one thing that we all experience, death. So let's start with the words that we use, or maybe the ones we don't. Think back to the last time someone told you that a loved one had died. Did they say, "He died"? Or was it something softer, couched, like, "He passed away, he's no longer with us," or "She's gone to a better place"? We do a lot of verbal dancing around death, and I get it. It can feel harsh and cold to say died. But the euphemisms we use, they're not just softer, they're a way that we avoid the truth. And I don't think that it really protects us. When we say she lost her battle with cancer, it almost makes it sound like she didn't try hard enough. When we say he went to sleep and didn't wake up, kids get scared of bedtime. When we say they passed, it's like they're just off in another room. One of my favorites is he expired. I remember the first time hearing it, I thought, what, did he forget to renew, like a driver's license or a library card? What a strange way to say that. And then there's, she kicked the bucket. What bucket? Other cultures handle death differently. Some, actually probably most, speak plainly. Death is death. Others speak poetically. Death is a transition, a journey, maybe even a homecoming, but they talk about it. We, in the US, and I think in Canada too, tend to avoid. We avoid talking about the reality. And in our avoidance, we can make grief feel lonelier and taboo. Why do we do it? Why do we tiptoe around death? Because we're uncomfortable, because we're afraid, because we don't know much about it. In Western culture, we've turned death into something that happens behind closed doors. Death happens usually in hospitals, in nursing homes, and it's managed by professionals. We rarely witness death, so we don't know how to hold it. Many of us are also afraid of saying the wrong thing. What if I make the griever cry? What if I mess up? Here's the truth. Someone who's grieving isn't afraid of crying. They're afraid of being forgotten, or of their loved one being erased from conversation. And I'm going to share a little story, a personal story, in a little bit about that. When we avoid saying the word died or mentioning the deceased's name, it's like pretending they didn't exist. Our discomfort becomes the silence. And the discomfort isn't just in language, it's in our customs too. 100 years ago, death happened at home. Families cared for the dying and the dead. They wore mourning clothes. Grief had a visible, accepted place in society. We had viewings and funerals in the homes. Now we're expected to go back to work in a week or sometimes less, to get over it or to move on quickly. We're told to stop crying, to man up, to be strong. Funerals have become shorter, more clinical. Mourning is often private and often invisible. Not always, and it depends on religious customs too. But for the most part, we've lost the rituals that most helped us process and integrate death into life. It's it's a continuum. We all are born, we live, and then we die. The amount of time in the middle is different, but the beginning and the end are the same. We're slowly starting to see new rituals emerge, such as memorial tattoos, social media tributes, online grief groups like mine, Navigating Life's Transitions on Facebook. These are signs that we need to mark loss. We need connection and not just closure. If you think of a scar, we can't speed the healing up. You can't remove a scab and not wait for it to scab up again, because then we'll end up with a scar. We can't just close, we need to heal. So, how do we begin to change the conversation? How do we normalize the end of life, death? It starts with honesty. Start using the word death and died, not because it's cold, but because it's clear. There aren't questions about what happened to that person. We don't need to be harsh, but we do need to be real. Ask the questions we usually avoid. Ask them of yourself and of others, and share your answers with your loved ones. The questions I'm talking about are: what would a good death look like for you? What do you want us to know if you become sick or terminally ill? What do you want to happen after you die? These are questions about: who do you want around you? Do you want everybody and anybody to come see you as you're dying? Or do you want to restrict who can come in? Do you want music played while you're in the final stages of life? You might be in a coma. But what we have found scientifically is that hearing is the last sense to go. So, do you want music? What kind of music? Do you want lotion on your body? What are the things that you want to do? And what do you want as far as funeral arrangements? Do you want a big funeral? Do you want a viewing? Do you want people to sit Shiva? What do you want, and how long do you want, and who do you want? These conversations don't bring death closer. They bring us closer to each other and to what really matters. There's some beautiful resources that have been emerging fairly recently. Death cafes, which are gatherings, often in coffee shops, where people talk about death over tea and cake. There are wonderful people who act as end of life doulas. They help people die the way birth doulas help people give birth. And legacy projects, writing letters, making videos, creating memory boxes. If you check the history of the podcast, I have had a death or end of life doula come on and talk about what she does. And I've had somebody come and talk about creating video legacy projects. So you can see those videos here in our history. They're all ways of making death visible, human, maybe humane, and even sacred again. Is it okay for me to share a personal experience with you now? My husband died in August of 1999. Our wedding anniversary was November, right around Thanksgiving. And on my anniversary, or our anniversary, I was with my mother, and she was chatting about everything, absolutely everything under the sun, except our anniversary or my late husband. She talked and never mentioned Steve's name or the fact that it would have been our 19th anniversary. I was so hurt. I finally grabbed the courage to ask her why she avoided mentioning what the day was or Steve's name. Her response to me was that she didn't want to upset me. I had to take a few deep breaths so I didn't react, and I was able to respond to her calmly. And I explained to her that by her avoiding mentioning our anniversary and Steve's name, it made me think that she didn't care or didn't remember or that neither he nor our marriage ever existed. I knew what the day was, and I felt that grief profoundly. Letting me know that she remembered would have helped me realize I wasn't the only one who remembered, and I wasn't imagining my life with him. So, what can we do in practical ways? I have 5 suggestions. 1, speak plainly but gently. Know who your audience is. If you're talking to an adult, if you're talking to a child, who that person is. Use real words. Say their name. Talk about death like it's part of life, because it is. 2, be a safe space. If someone is grieving, don't try to fix it. You can't. Just be with them. Sometimes the best way to be with somebody and to support them is to let silence speak. You don't need to say anything. Platitudes don't help. So just let your silence speak. As we say in the grief recovery method, be a heart with ears. 3rd, start with yourself. Reflect on your own feelings about death. What scares you? What matters most to you? What are your thoughts and views on death, on an afterlife? What are your beliefs? 4th, plan ahead. Make advance directives, end of life wishes, a spiritual legacy. They're not just for old people, they're acts of love for those people who you leave behind. And it makes it easier for them if they know they can carry out your wishes, that they're not having to make those decisions for you. And lastly, join the conversation, whether it's a book club, a grief circle, dinner with friends, my Facebook group, see the link below, and bring death into the conversation, the dialogue. Thinking about death isn't going to kill us. But you know what? Not talking about it robs us of connection, meaning, and support just when we need it the most. When we speak the truth about death, we're also making more space for life, for loving fully, for grieving openly and fully, for showing up for each other in the most human way possible. I'm here for you. I'm here to listen. I have good shoulders. I can hug if you want to be hugged. I'm here. So today, I invite you to take that small step, talk about death with a friend, with a loved one, with yourself. If it's with yourself, don't forget to share it. Changing the way we talk about death might just change the way we live. And if you're looking for someone to have this frank talk with, I'm here to listen. Reach out to schedule a chat. You don't have to go through this alone. Thanks for spending this time with me. Until the next time, be gentle with yourself and with each other. And remember, death and birth are a continuum. They're both part of life and things that we all go through. Take care. If you liked what you heard on this podcast and want to hear more, please follow us and tell your friends. You can also find me on Facebook at Amy Lindner-Lesser, Grief to Growth Life Coaching, and on LinkedIn at Amy Lindner-Lesser.